In this video, we're going to discuss how to find the inverse of a function. So there are 4 steps to follow when trying to find the inverse of a function. Step 1 is to determine the function has an inverse using the horizontal line test. Not every function has an inverse, so we need to first prove that the function we're trying to evaluate does have an inverse. So the horizontal line test says that if you draw a horizontal line through the function, it will only touch the function at one point. So for example, if we have y equals x, we draw a horizontal line here, it's only touching the function at one place. And if we draw a horizontal line anywhere on this function, it's only going to touch at one place. But if we had y equals x squared, which is our parabola, we can see that if we draw a horizontal line, we are touching the function in 2 places. Therefore, this function has no inverse. For step 2, we're going to replace f of x with y, and then switch x and y. Then for step 3, we're going to solve for y, and replace y with f to the negative 1x, which stands for inverse of the function. Step 4 is to restrict the domain and range of the inverse such that the domain of f of x is the same as the range of the inverse function, and the domain of the inverse function is the range of the original function. So let's do an example. We have f of x equals the square root of x minus 4. First, let's start by graphing this equation, which looks roughly like this, and doing a horizontal line test. So we can see that if we do a horizontal line test, we're only touching the graph at one point. So this passes the horizontal line test, and there is a inverse function. So now we'll replace f of x with y, and we get y equals square root of x minus 4. Now we're going to switch x and y. So this gives us x equals square root of y minus 4. And we need to solve for y. So to solve for y, we will square both sides to get rid of the square root. And we get x squared equals y minus 4. To get y all by itself, we will add 4 to both sides. So we will have y equals x squared plus 4. Then we will replace y with f to the negative 1x equals x squared plus 4. So the function of our square root of x minus 4, the inverse is x squared plus 4. So if we graph this, we're going to get something like this. So if we're looking at the domain of our original function, we have 4 included to infinity. And the range is 0 included to infinity. So the domain of our inverse function is negative infinity to infinity, and the range is 4 included to 0. So we can see that the domain of the original function is the range of the inverse function. So this is correct. But if we see the domain of the inverse function does not equal the range of the original function. So this means we need to just restrict the domain. So we can restrict our domain to 4 included to infinity. So then now our domain will also match our range of original function. So our new graph with these constraints will look like this. And we can see that looks a lot like our original function. It's just inverse over the line y equals x. It's the mirror image.